We need to talk about grain-free foods and DCM because I get a lot of questions about that every single week. You may have heard that DCM, or dilated cardiomyopathy, is kind of a thing that kind of always existed, but we saw it happening in a bunch of dog breeds that we typically don't see it in a lot more. And it was also kind of around the same time that grain-free foods started making a really big appearance. So there's a correlation there, maybe. So grain-free foods took a really bad rap, especially the vet clinics were just shitting all over it. So let's talk about it. Now, if you are in the decision-making process of a grain-free or a grain-inclusive food, it's important to think about your dog specifically. If your dog has an allergic reaction to grains or they're really hard to process, maybe you need to consider a grain-free food. But if your dog does not have any of those things, a grain-inclusive line could be an okay fit for your dog too. One thing to keep in mind, the grain-free foods, they take out things like rice and oatmeal and barley, and they're simply going to replace those carbs with different carbs, like potatoes or sweet potatoes or legumes, which are chickpeas, peas, different things like that. So when we had this whole mass hysteria, or maybe it just seemed like that because I'm in the industry, of grain-free food is causing our dogs to die, we started researching it a little bit more, and there is a possibility that the reason why this is happening is because legumes, a food that's heavier in legumes, which would be the grain-free diets, was having some sort of effect on our dog's ability to absorb taurine. Simply put, taurine is an amino acid that is found naturally in the body, and it has a variety of different functions, from energy production, cell growth, all kinds of things. So it was possible that the legumes were causing a malabsorption of taurine, which then was causing enlarged heart, which is the DCM condition in dogs that we're not seeing. Now, unfortunately, things that are scary to the common public are things that stick and spread fast. However, the FDA themselves says they are no longer going to put out any further information because there is not enough information to make a determination if it's correlation or causation, or if they're even related to anything together at all. So, my advice for you, choose a grain-free or a grain-inclusive line for your dog specifically. If you have a grain allergy, go for grain-free. If you're still worried about, this whole thing, start feeding foods that are a little bit higher in taurine. Amino acids are the building blocks of protein, so you can simply just feed more fresh meats, whether it's raw, gently cooked, minimally processed is what we're going for, or also just different types of fish as well.